and we're gonna talk about dysfunctional healthcare system. But more than that, more importantly, we're gonna talk about solutions, because that's why you guys are here. You're not here to talk about everything that's bad and that's not working. We're gonna talk about it because we need to have a kind of foundation as to why I'm doing what I'm doing and why you should be doing something different from what you might have been doing before. Make sense? Okay? So we are going to talk about solutions. So although when I think about healthcare crisis and health crisis, I think about a friend of ours, Darwin. Darwin did not have family of his own, so he became part of ours. And Darwin was an exceptional person. He knew many languages. He was a high school economics teacher. He wrote books. He took amazing photographs. He knew world history, in and out. And he had an amazing sense of humor. He was kind, he was humble, and he could easily go from a very serious conversation to laughing out loud about something silly. Darwin had big plans. He was planning to retire early from teaching high school, and he was going to retire so that he can travel the world, do more research for his books, take more photographs, help where help was needed, and hopefully he can bike, everywhere he went. Unfortunately, 2 months prior to his retirement, at age 59, Darwin suffered a stroke. He didn't die, but he laid on the floor of his apartment for 24 hours until somebody hurt him. So, because he had no family of his own, we're the ones who got the call from Mission Hospital. So we rushed over there, and Darwin was in good spirits. He did have paralysis on his left side. His intellect was completely intact. And so we had really high hopes that he's gonna recover from this. In fact, they were almost gonna send him home with us. And we said, wait a second, I don't know if we can do that because we are working. So they sent him to a rehab facility. And 2 days after being there, we got another call. Something happened. We says, what happened? What happened? He says, he's alive. So what happened is that he suffered internal bleeding. And as a result of that bleeding, and so he was passing out in a physical therapy, nobody was paying attention until they found him unconscious in his bed. The internal bleeding led to heart failure, liver failure, kidney failure, and as you can imagine, additional damage to his brain. So now his prognosis was not as good, right? His ability to recover almost obsolete, right? Darwin intellectually was still all there, but now he was not able to move much at all, right? He has to be fed through a GI tube, and his speech is very, very impaired, so we can barely understand him. Everything that he needed had to be done for him. So do you think Darwin's health crisis started with a stroke? Is that how it started? What do you guys think? No, it didn't. Because Darwin complained to me for a few years before that he was having issues. He was being fatigued, he was having problems with his balance, he was having headaches, he was having nosebleeds, and he did go to his doctor on a regular basis, and he took all the medications the way they were prescribed on a regular basis. Every time he complained to his doctor that he's still not feeling better, the doctor would say, everything is fine, don't worry about it, you'll be fine. Darwin knew something was wrong, and that's why he kept talking to me. And I would say to him, Darwin, look, I know a way to help you, come in, let's address it. And Darwin would say to me, I know you know what you're doing, but I'm gonna wait until I retire. What happened, right? He had a stroke, like I told you, 2 months prior to his retirement. Apparently, Darwin planned for every single thing in his retirement, everything, to a T. He saved every single penny towards that goal. What is it that he did not plan for? He did not plan for a stroke. Anybody here plan for a stroke? We all hope it's gonna pass us by. It's not gonna happen to us. might happen to somebody else, but not us. Darwin had no reason to think he was gonna have a stroke, right? He's 59 years old, he's very good health. Yes, he was having symptoms. And what was the symptoms? The body sending SOS signals, right? Something is wrong. What happens when we ignore those signals? Something bigger happens, right? A crisis happens, right? And that's what happened to Darwin. And the reason, by the way, he had internal bleeding is because he was put on blood thinners for his stroke, right? And by the way, I told the doctor, attending doctor, I said he has this tendency to nosebleeds. Please be careful. They didn't. You know, when he had his heart failure, they were gonna put him on blood thinners again. Why? Because that's a protocol. So we're gonna talk about it, you know, how unfortunately our healthcare system is a sick care system that focuses on protocols, not on the person in front of them, right?
Yeah.
So, Darwin, having experienced all of this and all his plans completely disappear in front of him, became very, very depressed. Because for better or for worse, he intellectually was all there, right? So now he would start, you know, he had hours upon hours to sit by himself and think through what happened, you know, and he became so depressed, he was so regretful of that he did not take any steps further. Because what's the worst thing that could happen is to have regret, right? That you knew you could have done something, and the clicker's not working. Sorry. Oh, the whole thing is not working. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna be dramatic with regret, and now it's not working.
Nice, Dave.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
We ran into a problem apparently. Okay, refresh. 1 second. So regret. How bad is that? How bad is regret? What does it mean to have regret? It means lost opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
It means that now you're blaming yourself that you knew something was wrong and you could have done something, right? In the end, we only regret the chances we did not take and the decision we waited too long to make, right? Because what happened to Darwin? That was too late. It was nothing I could do for him anymore. That he was so far gone at that point that there is nothing I can do. And that was painful for us because, you know, he was a family member. He was part of our family. And for us to watch him suffer like that for the next 4 or 5 years that he was still alive, that was torture for everybody involved. Did we help him? You know, he was taken care of? Absolutely. But was it life? Or was it just bare surviving? Was it striving or surviving? It was surviving day to day, in pain, discomfort, and all of that, right? So by the time Darwin had the stroke, I was already in practice for a while. And I realized that I could no longer practice the way I did. Because what I did, like any other doctor does, I sat in my office and I waited for patients to come to me. And I realized that if I go out in the world and present to people like yourself, that I can actually possibly change somebody's life. That I can intervene before it's too late. I can show them a different way. So truly my purpose is to help people like yourself to take control of your health. And really, not only your health, your life, right? Make sense? So today we're gonna be talking about all of that, but first I wanna talk about you guys because you are here and that's why I'm here. So, you guys saw this on the Facebook, Instagram. Who was brought here by force? Anybody? May come here. I mean, there's 3 guys in the audience, and I think that's great. I mean, this is, you know, showing your support is extremely important, and so I applaud you for being here. It might get uncomfortable at some points, I apologize for that, but I'm glad you guys are here. So, what I'd like to talk about for a little bit, I would like a couple of people tell us why they're here, what brought you here, what health concerns brought you here? Anybody wanna volunteer? Go ahead.
So I've been diagnosed with RA, so it's chronic pain.
Mm-hmm,
I've tried all different medications.
Right.
Methotrexate I'm on now, it's not working.
right.
So I'm trying to figure out my hands, my shoulders, and so I'm trying
And
to
what
figure out.
is your name, sorry?
My name is Therese,
Therese.
yes.
Well, Therese, I'm glad you're here because we do have some solution and some answers. And I appreciate Brad, you being here supporting. Therese. We're gonna make you laugh at one point, I promise. Anybody else?
Yeah, so my name is Erica, and I'm actually here for other people.
Okay.
Because the type of work that I do, I need to find people that I can refer.
Mhm.
I'm a massage therapist, and I believe in more the holistic side, so I'm trying to get people that I know in my own little network that I can refer to others. And it did catch my eye on Facebook. You know, you have children in your late 40s, and by the time they're, or early 40s, and by the time they're 10 years old, you're going through your menopause with a 10-year-old, and it's hard for that mother or that female.
Right.
So I need to learn how can I support them,
Mhm.
and that's what caught me on your Facebook page.
Well, I appreciate you
Yeah,
being here
absolutely.
and advocating for everybody.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Be 44 next year.
Uh-huh.
I also, it's kind of like this too, but myself, but also I wanna, educate myself, cause that's coming and I feel like I'm approaching it and just wanted to be proactive about it all and then share too and refer,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Being on thyroid medication for the past 22 years,
Okay.
and my daughter has PCOS,
Mm-hmm.
and my 13-year-old daughter might be going to thyroid medication pretty soon, so I wanna follow that.
So you wanna change the destiny of your
Yes.
family, sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being here. Anybody else wants to share? Go ahead.
I lost about 80 pounds,
Uh-huh.
and that was because of the heart problem that I had at weighed 280 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But I have made mistakes the way I've lost weight,
Okay.
and I'm very interested to see what's the correct way of doing so, because I still need 35 pounds at least to go.
Okay. So you're looking for alternatives and the proper way of doing things. Well, I appreciate you being here. So anybody here because they tired, fatigued? Somebody? Only 2 people, 3 people, 4
I've been on
people.
thyroid for 30 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody here doesn't feel well and know they should feel better? Okay. What about people, so we know thyroid issues, hormones, right, that's a common thing, menopause, hot flashes, all kinds of female pain, you mentioned that, yes. Anything else?
I have high uric acid.
Mm-hmm,
I sleep 5 or 6 times during the day.
right,
I'm alive for 2 hours, then I have to take a nap. My iron level is very low,
mm-hmm,
vitamin B12 is low, and my hemoglobin is very high.
okay, so something is not working right in your body,
Blood thinner doesn't work.
okay? So anybody on medications and doesn't wanna be on them? Some people, right? Anybody thinks they cannot do everything they need to do in life the way they feel right now? Okay, some people. Digestive issues? Yes, some people. Insomnia? No? Okay, okay.
I'm sorry, I'm diabetic.
Yes, diabetes,
Yes.
blood sugar, inflammation, tapers, inflammation, okay. Well, I'm glad all of you are here, and we're gonna be talking about all of that, so thank you. So purpose, living your life on purpose, how important is that?
Yeah.
We're all born with a purpose,
Mhm.
right? Can you live your life on purpose if you don't have your health? Is there any better time to start being healthy and change your life than now? Can we wait?
No.
How long can we wait 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, how long?
Not even 1 day.
Not even 1 day. Everybody in agreement?
Yep.
Okay, great. So we already talked about how Darwin had a purpose. He had a big purpose. He had everything figured out except that he didn't have his house. So it's gonna be really hard to do. And even if you're not sick as Darwin, right? If you're just not feeling well, you're just like, I'm just too tired to do one extra thing, right? I'm just too tired to do one extra activity. I'm too tired to take care of an extra person, or God forbid, something much higher than that, right? So let me tell you a little bit how I ended up here, right? So, as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't see any other way of me to grow up and be. I was 3 years old when I decided, and I started with homeless animals. I'm from Russia, so lots of homeless animals there. And so my mission became to take care of as many of them as possible. When I was about 6 years old, I was pondering, how can I save the world? How can I save the world from suffering? Because that was my mission. And so I decided that I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna become a cardiac surgeon. I'm gonna invent the heart that's gonna last forever. And that was my idea of how I'm gonna save the world. I was just gonna allow people to live forever without suffering. When I was also 6 years old, a neighbor of ours was an amateur herbalist, and she was starting to lose her eyesight. And she asked me to come with her and help her collect medicinal herbs in the forest. So as we were walking through the forest, she would explain all the herbs and applications. And at 6 years old, I started collecting for family and friends, making teas and distributing them.
That's so awesome.
Thank you.
That's so awesome.
So I was on my way of becoming a cardiac surgeon, and the path in Russia was to go to nursing school. Once I graduated from nursing school, I was working in cardiac surgical ICU. I was on my way, and I loved everything about it. I can't tell you how much I loved it. I loved all the machines, I loved all the surgeries, I loved all the drugs, I loved all of that. And my grandmother, who's pictured in the middle, she was a nurse all her life. For her, being a nurse was not her job, it was her purpose in life. She loved it, she had an infectious passion for helping people. She had a very hard life, she lived through revolutions and wars, and loss of a child and a husband, yet she remained very optimistic, and her outlook on life was always help if you can. So, and she was excited about me becoming a nurse, she was excited about me becoming a doctor, and we also had these wonderful conversations because she always wanted to be on top on the latest new research and latest news in medicine. About a year after working in ICU, my family and I were immigrating to United States, and my grandmother was coming with us, and we were so excited. We were excited for 2 reasons. One reason was that my grandmother lived far away, so now it was our turn to spend time with her. And the second reason was that my grandmother took care of everybody all her life. Do you think she took care of herself? No, she thought she was the last person that needs help. So as a result of that, as we were living in Russia, my grandmother was 80 years old, she had diabetes, she had high blood pressure, she had a stable heart condition. So we were excited that we're going to this wonderful new country where the doctors here gonna fix her. She did have a bag of medication she brought with her, so we arrived to this new country and we don't quite know how to take her to the doctor. And it happened to be that she fell and hit her nose and she had a nosebleed, we couldn't stop. So we're like, great, now is a great opportunity to get her to the doctor. So we called 911, they took her to the hospital, they stopped her nosebleed, and they were sending us home. And I said, wait a second, why aren't you gonna help her? They're like, what do you want us to do? Well, we want you to fix her. And I said, well, I don't know what you want, but let's look at her a little bit, okay? Her legs are swollen, let's give her diuretics. So they send us home with diuretics, and my grandmother is not getting better. Well, we find out that my grandmother, being the wise person that she is, she's hiding the diuretics in her apron, which she wears all the time because she cooks all the time. So we said, Grandma, how could you? We are here to, fix you. So doctors are helping you. You have to take your medications. So she starts taking medications. She actually is getting worse. So we keep taking her back and forth to the doctor. They don't have any answers. They never looked at her medication she's already taking. And then one day they say to us, okay, well, go ahead and bring her to the hospital and leave her here. We'll run some tests. We'll figure things out. Now we are really excited because we're thinking, okay, finally somebody's gonna look at her, Finally, somebody's gonna figure out what's wrong. Finally, we're gonna get our grandmother fixed and back to us. Well, unfortunately, a month and 10 days after we arrived into the United States, my grandmother dies in the hospital. And the reason she died was from dehydration. She was overdosed with diuretics in the hospital and died in a hospital, in a modern hospital in the United States from diuretics. Her doctor was a Yale graduate doctor. She was so excited about it. But they did not pay attention to her. So my whole family was obviously devastated. I mean, she was a matriarch of a family. She's the dearest woman and person, and everybody just loved and adored her. And here we are in a new country, and we lost our matriarch. So it was really, really hard on all of us. But to me, I had another problem. In addition to losing my grandmother, my problem was I didn't know what I'm gonna do next. Because I realized this is not how I wanna treat my patients. There is no way I'm gonna let somebody like my grandmother die like that. So now I had no path to what am I gonna do? So I still wanted to be a doctor, I just did not wanna do the way that medicine was practiced in that hospital, the way that medicine was practiced on my grandmother. So soon after, I started looking. This is before internet. And I'm looking through medical school catalogs, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm trying to find, what am I gonna do? I'm trying to find medical school with herbology program, herbs, right? That's what I knew. Can't find a single one, and I'm like, what's going on in this country, right? So, I was going as an undergraduate through University of Connecticut, and one day in the paper they had a little ad, and the ad says, if you'd like to be a naturopathic doctor, go ahead and send us for information. So I did. And that's how I found a naturopathic school, and that's how I became a naturopathic doctor, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. So, I already told you that, soon after coming to the United States, I realized the healthcare system was not working. It was not right. I knew that within the first 6 weeks. But I still did not realize, and I don't know why, I was still young, that I didn't realize that we had a problem not only with healthcare system, we also had a problem with the food system and the environmental system. So I assumed that our government cares about us. Anybody else believes that? They do care in some ways, but do they really care about you individually? So my assumption was they did. I knew the Russian government did not care about the people, but I saw the United States government did. So I said, okay, if they have fast food restaurants and they have food on the shelves, and all looks nice and cheap and all of that, then this is what you're supposed to eat. So I started eating SAD diet. What's a SAD diet? Standard American diet, right? The standard American diet good for you? No, it's not good, right? But it's convenient, it's quick, it's easy, it's available, and that's what I was doing. Soon after that, I started realizing I'm no longer fitting in the clothing that I brought with me from Russia. And then soon after that, I started having acne all over my face, which I never had as a teenager. And on top of that, I started having horrible, horrible headaches. And initially, the over-the-counter pain pills, wonderful pills, worked. And eventually, they stopped working. So I had to resort to a regimen of over-the-counter pain pills with the coffee in the morning, Coca-Cola at lunch, Snicker bars, and that's the only thing that kept my headaches at bay. I was doing good, right? I was undergrad pre-med, I had high GPA, I was raising a kid, I was working in the chemistry lab, I was doing good. By all the measures, I was doing good, but was I? No, I was sick, right? I was not functioning properly. And so when I got the information from the naturopathic school, I realized if I'm gonna be a doctor, I can't be a hypocrite. So I took myself to a naturopathic doctor myself, and he looked at my diet, and he says, what are you doing? I'm like, what? What's wrong with it? And he says, you can't eat any of these things. You have to get off everything. You have to start from scratch. And I couldn't believe him, and he goes, I'm telling you, this is what you need to do. So I said, okay, I'm gonna listen to you because this is what I wanna do, so if you're gonna tell me to do, I'm gonna follow. And I did. I had to get off all the junk food, all the caffeine. I couldn't touch any caffeine for 10 years unless I wanted a headache. And as I went to naturopathic school, I started learning more and more and more and applying it more and more to myself. And I'm still on that journey, right? So if you look at me, I'm not a perfect physique. right? And the reason I'm not in a perfect physique is because that's my house journey. So if you guys looking for a mentor who is in perfect physical condition, you know, an athlete or body lifter, I'm not that. But if you're looking for somebody who is genuine, who knows what it's like not to be perfect, who knows what it's like to have to get off the sad diet, if you're looking for somebody who's gonna be with you every single step of the way, then I'm your guy, okay? Make sense? So in the end, we're not that different. A lot of times patients tell me, well, it's easy for you, you've always been eating well. No, I haven't, you know, I ate all the junk and it tasted really good, right? But I knew that the value of my health and what I'm gonna present to my patients is much more important, and I feel the same to my children as well, because my son wants to be an naturopathic doctor, so when he tries to go off the natural path, I tell him, is this how you want your patients to eat? And he gets back on it. So our team that you met some of them, and you will meet Ginger when you come to our office, we are united by the same mission, and our mission is to help as many people as we possibly can. Our mission is to change the sick care system into actual healthcare system, and that's why we're all here. So David is one of my patients, and you guys saw him on the video if you came early enough. And when David came to me, David was in pain. Like what you were saying, right? He was in pain. Everything in his body hurt. He couldn't point to a single place in his body that did not hurt. And he was tired. He was tired all the time. And his wife and his children were worried about him. And the reason they were worried about him is because he was driving long distance for work. And they were afraid that he's gonna fall asleep. So the wife would come on all the trips with him because she wanted to keep him awake. But David didn't think that being healthy and being energetic, being out of pain was possible. And the reason he did not think that is because David was 62, his father died at 60. So David assumed that's his destiny, right? Right? If somebody in your family dies early, therefore it's your genetics. And therefore you have no control over that. Is that right? No, it's not right? But that's what David thought. So he was pushed into my office by his wife, and she said, no longer, I'm okay with you falling asleep at the wheel. His son and his grandson were very upset that they were gonna lose their grandfather. And when we looked at what's going on with David, because that's what we did, we looked at the underlying reason what's going on. It turns out that David, on top of everything else, had very severe form of diabetes he didn't know anything about, right? When David heard that, the light bulb went off in his head, and he says, you know what, I'm gonna do the best I can. I can't promise much because I'm so much pain, I'm so fatigued, but I'm gonna do the best I can. And so he did. The more he did, the better he felt. The better he felt, the more he did. So we were able to resolve his diabetes where he was fully functional, with no drugs, with no medications, with no injections, right? And the pain went away. Right? And that's a big thing, because with pain, he could not sleep. You cannot sleep, you cannot be energized, right? So David didn't do it for himself, he did it for his family. But it also, he realized in the end that he does not have to end up like his father. Make sense? So what we will cover today. Today we're gonna talk about hormone stress and health, right? And we're gonna talk America's health care crisis. I'm gonna promise to cover as much information as I can in the time that we have together. My hope for you that you're empowered and encouraged to move forward, to take action on your health and on your life, right? We're gonna be offering a complete wellness evaluation at the end of this presentation, and I would love for you to come in and find out if this is the right fit for you. We're gonna be talking about underlying reasons why so many people are suffering. Because you probably know there's lots of people in your immediate, sphere that are suffering, right? You're not the only ones. You know other people that are suffering? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people are suffering. And why are the people suffering? Anybody? We don't have answers, right? Necessarily. We don't know the past. We're gonna talk how to take action to protect your health naturally. So the good news, all of you guys are here. You took time out of your busy schedule to be here. You could have been doing anything else. And there could have been way more people because we now realize lots of people are suffering, right? So congratulations. This training is for you if you're feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. Anybody overwhelmed and exhausted? No? Okay, some? You're not feeling as good as you know you should. Okay? You know you've got to do things differently but not confident how. You realize health does not come in a bottle. Does health come in a bottle? Yeah, so we're not offering any miracles here, none of that. Because that's not reality, you know, there's no like this wonderful product, I don't care if it's a prescription or natural, it doesn't matter, the health does not come in a bottle. Health comes from within, from your changing your past, from you doing things differently. You're willing to take ownership of your health. Why is that important? Am I here to fix you? No. I thought you were bringing our grandmother here so she could be fixed. I was really wrong because really she needed to take control of her own health, right? But we just didn't know how. There's a lot of frustration, right? Have you guys been frustrated going to a doctor's office? Like you said, you're frustrated. The medication, they give you medication and medication is not working. You were told, and I'm sorry, your name again, Milo?
Hamid,
Hamid, okay. You were told, Mark, sorry. Hamid, you were told you need to lose weight, but nobody exactly told you how, right?
yes.
Anybody else have been frustrated going to the doctor's office? Yeah, why are we frustrated?
Whole year, I had a team, useless.
Yeah, we're frustrated because we're not getting answers. We're not being listened. We're not being heard, right? We are told what? It's your age, it's your genetics. What else? You're a woman, or what else?
They straight up look at me and say, we have no idea.
Oh, we have
They're
no
honest. They're
idea.
actually honest now.
We
But
have-
they'll write me a script for antidepressants. I have
Right.
a lot of bartering medicine.
And we will talk about why. But the doctors are also frustrated, you can understand, right? Why are the doctors frustrated?
Cause they can't fix it.
Yeah, because everybody, at least I hope, everybody went to medical school because they wanted to help people. When they come out of medical school, they're frustrated because they don't have enough time with the patients. How can 7 to 15 minutes can you figure out what's going on, right? They have protocols that bind them, right? So we're talking about Darwin, they were gonna put him again on blood thinners when he bled out, because that's a protocol, right? They don't have enough tools in the toolbox. And unless they have a diagnosis and some kind of medication to give, because out of frustration, they give you antidepressant, right? They said, we don't know what's wrong, it must be in your head. The only thing to shut you up is to give you antidepressants. And I hear this over and over again. I had a young male patient the other day, and he was having anxiety attacks, and they couldn't figure out what. They tested everything up and down, they couldn't figure out what was going on. He was having them infrequently, but severe enough. So the nurse practitioner, the doctor said, well, we'll give you antidepressants. And he goes, is that gonna solve my problem? Well, no, but maybe you won't have anxiety attacks, right? And we really don't wanna wait until it's too late, right? Because what happens when it's too late? It's very hard to go back. Is diabetes reversible? Yes. Is cardiovascular disease reversible? Yes, to a degree, right? Other things are reversible. Autoimmune diseases, are they reversible? Yeah. Fatigue, thyroid, things reversible, right? They're not reversible when you're in the state of Darwin. So the good news, you guys, you are here. So you're being proactive on some level to be here, to not stay home and say, I'll just be sitting on my couch and continue doing what I'm doing. So, good job. How common or uncommon is this? Very common. What if this woman was younger and she had multiple medications in front of her? We have lots of people on medications, lots of them. My grandmother was on lots of medications. She had a whole bag full. And what happens when they put you on a couple of medications or even one medication? What happens then?
Side effects.
Side effects. And what happens then?
Medicine for the side effect.
medicine for the side effects. And then we send ourselves to different specialists, we don't send ourselves, our primary sends us to different specialists, and what the specialists do? They prescribe medication, and a lot of times the specialists don't talk to each other, right, you know, because we think our body all separate, it's not connected, one thing's not connected to another, and therefore, it's all, dividable. America's health crisis is unacceptable cost and unacceptable outcomes. Are we in agreement?
Mm-hmm.
3.5 trillion is spent annually on healthcare, or it's spent on sick care, right? Not healthcare, sick care. 90% is on chronic health conditions. Is that health sick care system good for these chronic conditions? You guys told me no, right? You know, rheumatoid arthritis, no. Whatever you're dealing with, no. Heart disease, maybe, sometimes, right? But really, diabetes, no. Acute conditions, right? They're great. You know, if you're in a crisis, you crash, right? You broke your arm, you have a bleeding nose, whatever might be going on, that's a perfect place to be. They're great in crisis. Chronic conditions are no longer a crisis. You're still alive, and therefore they can't really help you. We spend double the amount of other developed nations. 70% of all deaths caused by top 5 chronic diseases. So it's not acute crises that it's caused by, it's chronic diseases that people suffer and they suffer and they suffer and then they pass away. US ranked 37 out of 40 in health outcomes. Is that depressing? It's really depressing to me. 37 out of 40. Not a great statistics. So some of the chronic conditions are bowel difficulties. How common is that? Very common. There's some people that are homebound because they're afraid to go out because their bowels that don't work predictably, right? They're so scared to go anywhere, so restricted. Is there medication for this? Yeah, there is. But does it address the underlying reason? It doesn't, right? It masks it. Tired and sluggish, you guys told me some of you are tired and sluggish here. Super common. What about depression? Depression is very common. But what also happens, like we already talked, you know, even if you're not depressed, you just don't know what's going on, right? They say, well, here's the antidepressants because we don't know what to do and we feel so frustrated we want to give you something. Is anxiety common? Very common. The more we live in the world that we live in, the more anxious we get. The technology is supposed to help us, makes us more anxious, right? There's a pill for that, right? Does it address the reason why we're anxious? It doesn't. Insomnia, right? Very bad. Impacts your whole life. David was impacted, you know, it just doesn't work if you don't sleep. You know, we designed to sleep so we can regenerate. Is there a pill for that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Does this pill address the reason why you're not sleeping? No, right? Ambien is the most common one, right? Right? They stop prescribing it if you get to 60, 65.
They
Why
do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, why did they start prescribing it? Does anybody know? The reason they stopped prescribing
Like
it
to
is,
take it for the first 10 days,
yeah,
not after that.
the reason they stopped prescribing it is because it makes you forget that you didn't sleep. It doesn't actually make you sleep, it makes you forget, and therefore people are kind of half awake and they sleepwalking. And then the older people are, the more likely they fall and break something, so they stop prescribing that. Mood swings and emotional, how common is that? Yeah, if you're a woman, you're supposed to have that, right? If you're a man, are you allowed to have that? Possibly, right? What can you do for that? Right? There's no answers. What about weight gain? Very common, right? So Veronica is one of my other patients. And Veronica had all the things that we just talked about. She had bowel issues, she couldn't tolerate any of the food she's eating, she had PMS, she had anxiety, she had anemia, she was depressed, and she couldn't sleep. And Veronica was in her mid-30s at that time, and she's brilliant, PhD in biochemistry, loved her job, but she was so tired and fatigued she couldn't get out of bed. she couldn't function. And Veronica worked all over the world, and she went to every single doctor in every single country she was in, and they just kept giving her more medications, more diagnostic codes, and she was not getting better. So when she came to me, she had a pile of lab work, she had a long list of her diagnostic codes, and she had a bag of medications. And she says, I don't know what else to do, but I cannot live my life like this. This is not acceptable to me. I have to be out of bed, I have to go to work. And before she got sick, a few years before, she was doing triathlon. She was very, very active, but now she could barely get out of bed. So when we started looking at the underlying reason why she was feeling like that, we started uncovering the reasons and addressing the 5 pillars we're gonna be talking about. And by 6 months, she was able to be off a lot of her medications. She was able to get out of bed. She was able to get a new job. She was doing much better. By a year time, she was all of her medications, and she was running triathlons. She's been with me now for over 5 years, and she's doing excellent, and that goes to show. People say, well, is this for just a little bit? No, it's for the rest of your life. Once we figure out what's going on, we can fix the foundation, the broken foundation, and we can allow you to live healthy and happy for the rest of your life. So, but this is our CCREA model, it's a sinking ship. Is it wrong or lacking information? So some of the information is wrong, right? You've discovered, you're supposed to lose weight, but how did you do that? So some information wrong, but how do we know if it's wrong? We don't really know, right? Because we have to have some experience with it, some expertise in it to know if it's wrong. Is it lacking information though? Sometimes it's lacking only because we don't have enough information to make our decisions, or the right people to lead us to it, right? We have tons of information. Dr. Google is abundant with information. There's tons of information there. It's not lack of information, it's a lack of knowledge, right? And why is that? What powers our healthcare system? Pharmacological companies, right? And the promise of that one miracle drug, one miracle solution to all our ills. So when we go to the doctor and the poor doctor does not have enough time to help us, and we tell them, please, we need to feel like that person in the commercial, please, I wanna feel like that. It says, here's your antidepressant or whatever else that might be, because there's nothing else they can offer, right? The COVID-19 was kind of an interesting situation, right? A lot of anxiety was caused by that, but there was also some good things, so it's turning crisis into opportunity. One of the things were, for the first time, as far as I know, we were told it's okay to stay home if you're sick, right? Why is it okay to stay home if you're sick? The prevalent things, you don't want to infect other people, but really, really good for you to stay home when you're sick so you can recover, so you can be healthy, right? We also were told that if you have autoimmune conditions or health conditions, so diabetes or heart conditions and so on, you have greater risk for getting sick from COVID. Did they tell you what to do about it? No, they just scared you. But they did say it's actually important to be healthy. The definition of health was not provided, but apparently it's important to be healthy, right? The other thing, the great thing that happened is that we actually got more time to spend with our families, which was great, for some people it worked out, for some people it didn't. But nevertheless, we were given an opportunity to do that, which get us out of rat race and get to spend time with each other. So what is the definition of health then? Is health absence of diseases? Is that enough? Is that health? I don't have any diseases, I will have no diagnostic codes attached to me. Am I healthy? No, not really. Is health is ability to cope with everyday living, daily demands of daily life. Is that enough? I'm coping with everything. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Is that health? Most people living in this state, right? Most of the people, especially women, they keep going no matter what. Even if they don't feel well, everything is okay, they put a smile on your face, makeup on your face, and you keep going. And you keep going. And that's what my grandmother did. She kept going and she kept going, even so she knew she was not feeling well. She didn't feel that stopping and taking care of herself was an option. So a lot of women and a lot of people don't feel that. They feel like it's not an option for me to slow down and take care of myself. So it's a health and a state of balance, equilibrium that the individual has established within himself or herself. between his social, physical, spiritual, and emotional state, right? It's equilibrium in all these areas. So if, for example, if you're physically healthy but you're depressed, is that health? No. If you're depressed, if you're not depressed, but you're physically unhealthy, that's also not health. Make sense? So not to be so depressing, because we really do have control of our health. Well, we cannot stop, calendar going from 1 month to the next, to 1 year to the next, but what can we do? We can be proactive, right? Some of you are here to be proactive, right? Consider food medicine to heal the body, right? Address blood sugar imbalances, improve heart health, decrease inflammation, which you said was important, Gabrielle, right? Boost immune system, reduce stress and stressors. We're in total control over that, right? Balance hormones, okay? So in order to do that, we have to have a solution on how do we approach all that path to health, being proactive. And the way we do it is by addressing these 5 pillars. It's detoxification, nutrition, fitness, hormones, and mentoring. And that's what we're gonna be talking about. So first, how did we get here though? How did we get to a place where so many people are suffering, so many people feel unwell? And some of the people, they think they're okay, but actually they're in denial. How many people you know that are in denial? Right? Some of you know some people in denial, right? And the denial basically means, I think I'm okay, I'm gonna keep going, I'm still waking up every day and I'm going to work. The fact that I feel aches and pains and I just feel tired and I just have to push through, this is the age, this is how everybody does it, I'm like everybody else because it's become normal. So people ask me, is it normal to feel tired? No, it's not normal. Is it common? Yes, it's common, but it's not normal, right? So how did we get to this state? We're exposed to chemicals, right? We're exposed to stress at work and home, right? We are so stressed and tired that we consume more toxins, right? How many of these things we can control? Can we control all of this? We can control all of this, and the idea is not to be able to control everything because then it becomes impossible. The idea that you can control what you can control and allow the rest to be there, but allow your body to be flexible enough and resilient enough to take care of it. Make sense? Because people get so upset. Oh my God, this is organic, but then it says organic is not really organic because the wind and the rain and the thing and then now I don't know what to eat and I'm not gonna eat anything. That's not reasonable. That's not reality, right? That's not reality at all. Why is stress important?
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight? Does it affect a lot of different systems in the body?
For
It
blood
does.
pressure.
Affects your blood pressure, affects your heart rate, it affects your brain, it affects your thyroid, your adrenal glands you were talking about, right? Immune response, organs, different organs, right? It affects everything. And so we know when people got stressed during COVID, what was happening to people? They're starting to get sick from all kinds of things because it affects immune response, right? And then there's internal stressors that happen in our body, so it's called oxidative stress. So when we're not eating right, when our gut is not working right, the whole microbiome of the gut, we start producing internal toxins, right? So that in addition with the toxins we're exposed to, creates a damage to our cells, right? That's an oxidative stress. And our cells becomes a rotten tomato. Is that a functional cell? If it looks like a rotten tomato. It isn't, right?
And I'm full of them.
Stage 3 tomato.
Right? So it's not a functional thing. I personally don't want my cells to be rotten tomatoes, right? Is anybody here? No. We really want our cells to function normally so we can have quality of life in all different areas of our life. So when we talk about underlying reasons people are suffering, and we're talking about addressing underlying causes, here's some of the things we consider that oftentimes are ignored in conventional medicine. And then some people counting, how many of these do I have? Stress, adrenal dysfunction, anemia, liver congestion, hormone imbalance, some of them I can't pronounce, insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, food allergies, and so on, right? And it becomes overwhelming sometimes. We start Googling them a lot. We're starting to look, how do we wanna find solution for every single one of them. But are they all connected? They're all part of our body, right? So they're all connected. So is it possible then to overcome this? It's totally possible, right? Because we have to look at your body as a whole and address it as a whole. But when you go to conventional doctor, the first thought is, what medical condition do they have? Why do they say that? For two reasons, right? Bill insurance,
Insurance code.
and to give you what drug can they give you. And if they don't have a code, and they don't have a drug to give you, what's the answer?
Idiopathic.
You're just normal, you just have to revisit, this is how it is, we see it all the time, I'm sorry, we can't help you with anything, right? Why is that happening? Why we only have basically one or two tools in our toolbox in a conventional healthcare system? Because we're powered by pharmaceutical companies. They spend, and insurance, they spend billions of dollars, marketing to us to say this is the answer, right? And you know that firsthand. And this is one of the reasons, the insurance company, right? So Medicare, this is directly from Medicare Journal. Care that seeks to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong and enhance the quality of life is not considered medically necessary and therefore not payable. What does that mean in lay terms? It means we're gonna cover your car crash, right? Your car insurance covers only your car crash, right? Does it cover oil change, transmission, tune-up? Medicare says to it, we will cover you if you're crashing. The quality of your life is not of our concern. So whose concern is it? Right, it's our concern, right? It's up to us then to maintain that quality, because Medicare says if you're crashing, if your heart stopped or you broke something, come in, we'll patch you up and send you off. So your insurance company, your car insurance company doesn't care if your car is maintained, if it's scratched or not scratched. It's like, oh, you crashed, okay, we'll fix that, but other than that, it's up to you. So the sick care model is prescription drugs, we spend a lot, and it grows, and it grows, and it grows. So we now know that the healthcare, the way it is right now, is not working, right? It's not where we can get to our destination, and it's not allowing us for quality of life. Are we in agreement on that?
Mm-hmm.
So are we willing to do something different, right? How many of you going to do something different? Couple of you, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. Rest of you? Not yet, okay. I'm not picking on you.
I can't lift my arm right now.
Okay.
I'll nod.
Okay. So, Patty came to us and she says, all I need to work on is I have some hormonal issues, I have some hot flashes, and I'd like to lose some weight because I'm really tired of standing in front of my closet and looking at all the beautiful outfits I have and nothing fits. So when we started talking more, Patty started to realize that weight and hormones was one of the things. But what she was experiencing is she was experiencing constant anxiety. She felt like the world is coming to an end every single day. And nothing was wrong in her life. Her life was perfectly fine. She had a loving husband, she had a nice house, she has a nice job, everything was fine. But she felt in this constant terror. And she didn't know what was wrong. And what did Patty look like to an outside world? She looked perfectly fine. She's always well dressed, always had her hair done, everything done. She looked perfect. You would never say this person is suffering on inside. And that's why I'm saying there's so many people living in denial. To her, she's like, well, I just need this fixed and I'm okay. But then she realized there was way more than that. That she went to bed, after doing computer search for hours and hours, trying to figure out how to help herself, went to bed terrorized that there's no answer. She woke up every day, dreading to be, awake and how to do things. She was avoiding activities, she was avoiding her friends. she was not enjoying her life, you know, she was 64 years old and she was really wanted to live her life, like now I did all the work, I raised my children, now I want to enjoy it, and she could not enjoy it. So when we started addressing, again, the 5 pillars we talked about, Patty was able to sleep. Patty's hot flashes went away. She started enjoying life, she started doing things she used to do, and to her that was priceless. Like, she's like, I was basically just fearing every single day. It was no fun. The whole life was no fun, and now it is, you know, and to her that was priceless. And Patty said, you know, before I started, I thought it's gonna be hard, you know, because she tried all kinds of diets. She tried counting calories, she tried counting carbohydrates, she tried all kinds of exercises, and she would lose weight and she would gain it, and she would go on and on and on. But with all these, you know, different things that she was doing, the hot flashes never went away, the anxiety never went away. Yes, the weight went up and down, but everything else stayed. So she thought in order for this to change, she had to do something drastic, something different, and she was very fearful of, like, oh my God, I have to be on the diet, I have to be restricted, I'm gonna lose everything that I love in life, you know, now that I'm so limited. And she found out it wasn't like that. She found out that the way she was living her life with the program that she was on was actually making her feel better and better, and wanting to do things to help herself and to feel herself better. But breaking through the terror barrier is hard, right? Because we all have preconceived notions. We all have these beliefs that we're held by. Oh, don't take away my wine, don't take away this, don't take away that, because that's so hard, you know, it's so different, I don't wanna be different, I wanna stay the same. But what happens if we stay the same?
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes. So sometimes it's hard to jump through, but once you're on the other side, you're like, I'm so glad I did that, right? And that's how Patty felt. So when we keep talking about this and the programs the pillars that we're gonna be discussing, and the fear about jumping through through the terror barrier, I would like you to think about your why. Because why is what allows people to do something different. So what is your why? Think about that, right? For me, because my passion to help as many people as I can, I have to be healthy myself, right? So for me, there's no discussion about that. I have my son who wants to be a naturopathic doctor, so I have to support him. My mom is 85 years old, so I have to support her. I wanna be there for myself, for my family, for my husband, you know, but more than that, I really don't want people to suffer. That's what I felt since I was 3 years old. I don't want anything like what happened to Darwin and my grandma happen to anybody else. But beyond that, I mean, these were extreme examples. People on a daily basis live like they're going through molasses. That's not fun. That's not living quality life. And that's why I'm here. So think about it. So our pillars is what allow us to help so many people, because they partner with us. We are not going to fix you. That's not our role. Our job is to meet you where you are, and you tell us how high you want to go, how far you want to jump, right? So we have to do detox, right? We agreed that there's a lot of chemicals that we're exposed to, so we have to do detox. We have to take garbage out. So that's gonna be important. Does detox have to be hard, right? People are like, oh my God, I can't do detox because holidays are coming, you know? Holidays and birthdays and everything are always gonna be coming. That's just the way of life. We have to learn how to take care of ourselves as life meets us, you know, comes to us. It doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to keep you home, but detox is absolutely necessary. We have to do proper nutrition, right? It's not a diet. You know, diet means you do something for a short period of time and then you're done. That's not what it is. It's what the proper nutrition is for you. What works for your body, what works with your body, and that's what we need to figure out. What kind of nutrition is appropriate for your body? It's not a diet of deprivation. I don't like people think about that because it only gets them sick with it for a short period of time. That's not reality. We have to do movement, right? We agree to it, right? It's important to move. We cannot continue sitting and sitting and sitting because now sitting is bad as smoking, right? They figured it out, right? So fitness is important. what type of fitness is gonna work for you. It's different for everybody, and that's what we work on, figuring out what's gonna work for you. Not for a boot camp, you know, not for 1 week, for 2 weeks, for the rest of your life. Does it have to be this hard? It doesn't, because that's not a reality. Yes, maybe you go to a yoga retreat and you stand on your head, that's fine. But we're looking for something that you're able to maintain through the holidays, through family birthdays, through travel, cruises, and whatever else, that you continue to maintain yourself. Hormones important, right? We have to address hormones. Why are hormones important? They are throughout your whole body, right? So that's very important for us to address and balance. Because if we don't address it, the body's not gonna function optimally, and optimally is what our goal is. The metabolic system is very complex. We can't just like, okay, well, we'll just do thyroid over here, and we'll do this over here, and then we'll send you over there. That's not how it works. It works that we have to address everything at the same time so the body becomes balanced. The analogy I like to give is like you have very heavy tables, you guys have like very heavy dining tables, and you try to move it, you know, guests are coming, and you're like, oh my God. But if you got 4 people on each corner and everybody's lifting it up, then you got it done. Same with metabolic system, with endocrine system. If we address it on all different corners, then there's no problem.
What's the sex word?
What?
I couldn't read.
Sex glands, sex hormones. Yeah. It's important to do proper testing, right? A lot of times I get tests from other doctors and they gave me this much of a picture, you know? We have to look at patterns because again, our body's not separate. Like we looked at all the symptoms, like I have this and I have that. It's not all different symptoms, right? It's all connected. So when I first started doing, graduated from naturopathic school, I was kind of doing symptom, you know, treatments. People came to me, they complained about this and I did symptoms. What I realized is that I need to do more than that because my goal is not to put band-aids on these symptoms. My goal is to allow people to change their life, right? To fix things forever, to repair the foundation, to allow them to live long-term healthy life. So we're only fixing symptoms, we're not addressing underlying reasons. And that's why these programs work, because they address all the major things that need to be addressed to rebuild that foundation. Mentoring is one of the most important pillars because again, we're looking at the underlying reason. And all the testimonials I showed you and you heard from, we addressed the underlying reason. We didn't put band-aids on things because that's not enough. We create a unique plan for you because everybody is different. Is that true? Mm-hmm. Not everybody is the same, right? And Dr. Google does not know anything about you. Nothing, right? I had a patient the other day, and as I was talking to her, her husband was Googling things. She goes, well, I just Googled, and you know, it says, you know, you do this for this and do for that. I'm like, no, that's not how we do it. Okay? We educate and empower. Why is that important? Because I'm not here to fix you. I don't want you to depend on me. We work together to figure out what works for you, what creates a foundation, and then you take it into your own hands because we know that's how it works, right? We guide you through your journey because you do need a guide, right? Because it's hard to go through the Dr. Google corridors and find what works for you. It takes years and years of expertise and practice. Hold you accountable. Super important, right? Because when we first start going through the terror barrier and we're scared, we need somebody to hold our hand. Because again, we're developing habits for the rest of our lives, not just for today. Encourage. We are our worst critics, so we have to have somebody encourage us and cheer us on. Finding a mentor is very, very important. Why? Anybody here flies a plane?
Yeah.
You fly a plane?
I don't fly one, I fly on one.
You fly one, but do you know how to fly a plane?
No.
No, I don't either. So if I went and I researched how to fly a plane, I probably can find it. And then can I fly a plane? I hope not, right? Because I need somebody to teach me. Same as everything else. Every single industry requires you to have a mentor to teach you and guide you through it before you can take on your own. Trisha is another one of my patients, and Trisha is absolutely lovely. She was a real estate agent, and then now she's writes novels. She plays amazing piano, and she travels, takes amazing pictures, but she was hobbled with, rheumatoid arthritis, you know, she had pain in her knees, and she went to her doctor, and they said, well, based on, the marker that we found, the only thing we can give you is immunosuppressing medication, and she goes, well, is that gonna allow me to travel, because that's what she loves to do, and they said, no, well, it's gonna put you in danger of developing things, you know, if your immune system is gonna be suppressed. And she goes, well, that's not good enough, you know, and, but yet she was in pain every single day, she was, had pain going to her mailbox, she would wake up and she was in pain, and this is a woman who went all over the world and traveled and walked everywhere, and so it was very, very depressing to her. And then on top of that, she developed redness and soreness in her eyes, and that prevented her from reading and writing and playing piano, and was just overall depressing. So she tried going to different doctors, they tried giving her different things, none of it worked. And then she ended up with us, you know, again, going through the pillars that we talked about. We figured out the underlying reason, and not only her knee pain resolved, her eye pain resolved, and now she's a happy camper. So, our programs are all customized, they're all inclusive programs. Because again, we're trying to rebuild the foundation. It's like, you know, if you want to build a house and you hire different contractors, the chances are you're not gonna get the house of your dreams, because everybody's gonna, you know, discuss and argue with each other, and then in the end, you're not gonna get a beautiful house. So we feel that all-inclusive programs is what works. They're based on the 5 pillars that we use. We partner with people who are ready to start on a journey to better health, because we are not doing this for you, we're doing it with you, okay? We now have a system where we put all the pillars together. We partner with people so they can go through the systems, through education, through all the pillars, and allow for them to achieve their destination, okay? We also work on the community building, because people oftentimes tell us they feel alone, right? Nobody else, it's not normal to take care of yourself, it's normal not to, right? We want you to have unlimited ability to do anything you wanna do. You set the bar. How high do you wanna jump? How far do you wanna go? Some people just wanna be able to go to the mailbox, other people like Veronica wanna be participating in triathlons. Everybody has different goals, everybody has a different destination, that's all up to you. But I don't want you to have any limitations that are holding you back, that is not allowing you to live your life on purpose. This is my mom on a horse at 85 years old for the first time, you know, and I want everybody to have unlimited health and ability to do anything they want to. We wanna turn crisis into opportunity, and hopefully we're not gonna wait for a crisis. We're not gonna wait for that engine light in our car to go off and ignore it, right? Because what happens if we ignore engine light in our car? We burn out the engine, right? Tell me and I may remember, show me and I will remember, involve me and I will understand. Why involvement is so crucial? Right, because you can remember something, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, I remembered some of the things we discussed here, and I went home and I did exactly the same thing I was doing. That's not gonna get you anywhere. But if you're involved in the process of getting yourself to the destination, that's gonna be very different. And that's again, same thing. If you continue doing the same thing over and over again, we can expect different outcome, right? So we wanna wake up and stop procrastinating, because we're always gonna wait, well, the next day, and the day after, and the day after, I might do something. So you're gonna ask me, what's the catch? And the catch is, you have to do the work. Again, we're gonna guide you, we're gonna support you, we're gonna take you as far as you wanna go. But this is only the dog walking, the person in the car is not walking, that's not exercise, right? So the work has to be done. There's a difference between interest and commitment. What's the difference? We just talked about it a little bit. So interest, like I'm interested in it, I bought the books, I came to presentation, that was really interesting. Did you take action? No. Commitment means you took action. You said, where I'm at is no longer acceptable to me, I'm no longer okay with it, I'm gonna take action. That's commitment. That's what allows you to get to the next stage. We don't wanna leave things to chance. Darwin did, right? We don't want that, we want you to make a change. So what's next? So I hope I covered as much information as I could in the time that we had together, and I hope you're more educated about what the healthcare system has to offer you and what is available to you. My hope is that you're gonna take as an opportunity to move forward, to take action, right? And that would be with the complete wellness evaluation that I mentioned in the beginning. So the complete wellness evaluation is a 1 hour consultation, because we understand that 7 to 15 minutes does not work. That's not enough time for us to understand where you're at, where you want to go, what you've done in the past, what worked, what didn't work. So during that 1 hour consultation, we're gonna be talking about you, right? We're gonna be talking about what's going on with you, how the pillars apply to you, and what is your goal in life and in health, right? The total value of that 1 hour consultation is $287, because you guys here and we already educated you about us. Your investment is $87, okay? That allows for everybody to take us on this opportunity and take action. So before you come to this consultation, we're gonna give you an extensive questionnaire. It has lots and lots of questions on it. And the reason there's lots of questions on it, because we need to understand where you're at, where you've been, where you wanna go, right? We're not putting Band-Aids on you, we need to understand fully what's going on. When you're filling out these forms, and please allow 30 to 40 minutes to fill it out, think about your why, right? You're gonna bring these forms to your evaluation, and if you have significant other, so people who here without significant other, anybody has significant others? If you have significant other, they have to come with you. Why is that important for them to be there? Why, guys, is it important for you to be here today? I'm gonna pick on you, Martha.
For me, I come because I on the hormone situation, you know, and it's good to him. God knows where I am, so he understands me better.
Yeah. So that's exactly right, because we're gonna be asking you to make changes.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be asking you to do something different. It's important for us to know that you have support, to understand what kind of support you have.
Mm-hmm.
Marco does not wanna talk to me, so I'm gonna understand. No, I'm joking. No, but it's important because, you know, couples that do things, you know, live together, do things together, they change together as well. So it's important for you to have a support system. So if you have a significant other, we do ask them to come to this consultation with you. So it's gonna be 1 hour long consultation. If your significant other or family member wants to be evaluated as well, then we'll extend that appointment to 1.5 hours, and we'll charge you an additional $47 to include additional person. Usually it's a husband and wife or a significant other, and they do things together, so it makes things a little bit easier for us to discuss. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So Jessica will be coming around with the forms, introductory forms for you guys to fill out. It will have information on your preference on what day you want to schedule with us, and then she'll take care of the $87 or $134 if you're coming together. The consultation, like I said, is going to be all about you. It's going to be specifically how it applies to you, right? So today we talked about generals, and the consultations are going to be specifics. If you have any blood work or any testing or anything like that, please bring it with you so we can look at that and see what else is needed. We don't want to wait until it's too late, because that's our mission. We want to help as many people as possible, not to leave things to chance. So some frequently asked questions are, does insurance cover this? No, we already discussed that, and insurance does not cover it. Insurance does not cover quality of life. The next question people ask, is this affordable? So what I can tell you that we work with people from all walks of life, you know, some retired people, single moms, etc., and we usually find a financial program that fits their lifestyle and budget. So if you ask me now, how much is it gonna be for you? I have no idea, because I don't know yet who you are, what you will need, so I wouldn't be able to answer that. Same for my staff, they're not gonna be able to answer that as well. The next question people ask me, can I help everybody? What do you guys think? Everybody I can help? What's consensus? Yes? Who thinks yes?
On some level, yeah.
I'm gonna say no. I wish I can say yes, because that's my nature, to help everybody, but The no is because I'm not doing the work. You have to be ready to do the work. Whoever works with us has to be ready to do the work. Does it have to be hard? It does not have to be hard, right? But you have to be ready. And I know on some level you're ready, you're here, you're being proactive. There should be way more people again. You are here, so I know you're proactive, so I know you're ready to go. The next common question that people ask us is, can we do it on Zoom? Like, I know some people come from far, some people are traveling, some people go on vacations, and yes, the answer is yes. If we need to, we can do some of the appointments on Zoom. We'd love to see you in person, but if it's not possible for you, Zoom is always an option, you know. COVID made it normal, okay? So Jessica's gonna be coming through with the forms. And, I hope you guys learned quite a bit about what we do and how we do things in our office now. I cannot wait to see all of you at our office, which is in this business center. I cannot wait to sit down with you and discuss what's going on with you and how we can help you, and to see if this is a great fit for you. Thank you for participating with me, and go ahead and start filling out the forms, and then dinner is gonna be ready in a few minutes.
So this evaluation, like I said, I've been in this system, so if I go to all my, give me days, no way you can go through it now. Is this evaluation basically, chit chat and you say, here's the protocol we suggest to you, so you set up a protocol?
Yeah, so I'd like to see some blood work, especially for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the more recent ones, the better, I mean.
Like I'm
looks
literally
good.
in PR, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, they know me, like,
Yeah.
it's like that bad. But the thing is, so you set up a protocol, say you need to do step A, B, C,
Yeah.
and D, and you had mentioned that obviously it's